French Institute of South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal Department of Sports and Arts and Culture, National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, Total Energies, and the University of KwaZulu-Natal, of course. And I'd also just like to acknowledge our partners who are here, My Voice, who are here with us. The Goethe-Institut and the representation of Flanders and Wallonie. Thank you for making this night possible for us. It's always lovely to gather together at this lovely festival of Poetry Africa after a hard 2 years. First of all, just to welcome us and give us a word, I'd like to call on Dr. Ismail Mohammed, who is the Director of the Center for Creative Arts, to give us a short word. Dr. Ismail.
Thank you very much, Ayanda. Good evening. So you probably asked the question, why the right to speak? Simple. It's part of our institution in this country. A right that many people have fought for around generations of South Africans. At the Center for Creative Arts at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, we value the constitutional values that we have. We own the constitutional values, and we provide a platform for artists to celebrate, to engage with, and to advance those particular values. We're also the first university on the African continent to be able to host an artist through the Artists Protection Fund. These are artists whose lives are endangered either because they work in countries where the values are in conflict with the work that they do, or their lives are endangered by the values of that particular country in terms of either homophobia, racism, religious intolerance, and a range of other factors. When hosting that particular fellow, we provide them with a platform for at least a 6-month period to work in a protected environment, to be able to create work with the kind of liberties and freedom that all artists need to enjoy. For us, the Right to Speak project is one of the valued projects that we worked on from the beginning of this year to now. And tonight, this marks the culmination of the project in some way, or rather the end of one chapter, and we ask the question, what's going to happen in the next volume of this particular project? It's a project that was initiated by the Goethe-Institut in Johannesburg, a partner that has worked with us across several of our festivals, and most recently on our contemporary Jumbo Contemporary Dance Festival. The Goethe-Institut brought together various partners, and amongst them was the Stand Foundation and our valued partner, Hear My Voice, to sit and brainstorm how poets, or what we could do, drawing on the voices of poets. Then, of course, the other EU partners came on board, which is the French Institute of South Africa, Wallonie, Bruxelles, and the representation of Flanders. And with the support of those 4 EU partners, we were able to drive this particular project through this kind of a partnership. So I want to acknowledge Sandile Makatini, who is here tonight, representing the Goethe-Institut. Sandile, do you want to wave for us? Thank you very much. I also want to recognize South Africa from the Hear My Voice NGO, who has worked with us on several festivals and who is representing Hear My Voice on this particular project. We have one person that's incredibly important. You will hear a few words from her tonight. I'm looking for her. I'm just trying to see where she is. Kakaza Mohare. Ah, there you are. Kakaza, thank you very much for driving this project on behalf of all our partners, for being at the center of the universe for all of us working on this particular project, and making sure that the multiple programs that we drove this year through the Hear My Voice project, which culminates in a catalogue which Kakaza will talk to you about, but we launched a digital anthology this afternoon of a group of poets that were part of the Right to Speak project, and that digital anthology, published in several South African languages, will also be published by UKZN Press and will be launched during our Time of the Right Festival in March. Now, one of the projects that was led through the Right to Speak project was a skills and capacity building workshop for young poets, particularly in terms of the way they work with online media. And Kakaza will talk about that. She'll also reflect on many of these things in a separate webinar that we're doing. We opened the doorway to poets to be able to submit proposals. Those are the poets who attended that skills capacitation workshop. And to submit their proposals, we shortlisted 3 poets. We were going to give one of those 3 poets an amount of 10,000 rands to be able to develop the work into a full production. And following the success of that project, or the initial project, we will give them an additional 10,000 rands to further develop that particular project. But through the wonderful partnership that we enjoy with our sponsors, both in kind and in cash, we have incredibly wonderful partners that we have decided to give each of those 3 shortlisted people a grant of 10,000 rands to be able to develop their work as a concept project, and from which we will then select one to develop as a full-scale project. Now, when we do these kinds of initiatives at the Centre for Creative Arts, where we run skills building programs, for us it is more than just a tick box exercise. We want to have a dynamic relationship with the artists that we work with. More than being able to see you once a year at either the Town of the Writer Festival or the Poetry Africa Festival or the Jumbo Festival. We want to have an ongoing relationship with our artists. We want to see how we begin to use the work that you do with voices that you have to begin to build the capacity within our country to give new direction, but most importantly, to boldly confront the burning issues we have in our country, but more than anything else, to inspire hope. Because the only valued document that we have at the present moment is our Constitution, because that has not failed us despite many other fragilities in our country. I'm going to call on Professor Nobuhle Hlongwa, who is the Dean of the School of the Arts. We promise you, Professor, we're not going to ask you to match 10,000 rands tonight. We did that the other night. So we're going to just ask you to say a few words on behalf of the School of the Arts and to welcome everyone on behalf of the school. And thereafter, I'm going to hand over to Kakaza Mohari on the Right to Speak project to briefly address us on behalf of all 4 partners who are part of this project, and of course the 2 practicing partners, which is the My Voice NGO and the CCA. So Professor Hlongwa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ismail Mohammed. I thought today you're not going to call me. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Actually, good evening now. I do want to acknowledge all of you. I'm not going to start mentioning names as Ismail has done, so because I'm going to leave names and that will not go well. So I do want to acknowledge all our funders, all our partners. On behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Nana Poku, as well as our DVC and Head of the Humanities College, Professor Ntambam Kize, they sending their greetings. So they're supporting the work of the Center for Creative Arts, they're supporting the work for Poetry Africa. This evening, we continue with the excellent work that Poetry Africa has been doing over the past 26 years. So as a School of Arts, we'll continue to support the work, we'll continue to support our artists in the national work, in the international work. So with all our partners, our funders, we are very grateful that we continue to work within the city of Durban. You know that like Durban is a city of literature. So we need to continue that work and work with our city so that like they continue to retain the status as the city of literature. So the kind of work that you do, the publications that Dr. Ismail Mohammed is actually talking about, they contribute to that kind of work that will make our city actually keep its status as the city of literature. So I wish you well for this evening, and thank you very much. Looking forward to the work of our performance of our poets this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. We started the festival last week. We're midway through the festival. We have decided to give Sipingele Hlongwa, who's our chief curator of the festival, the evening off to recover. It's midway through the festival, so that she has enough energy for the next few weeks. For the next few days, and of course the weeks after, when we follow on reports and writing more proposals and so forth. But with that, I'm going to hand you over to Kakaza Mohari, who's been the coordinator of the Write to Speak project, and who's going to represent all the partners on this project. So over to you, Kakaza, and following which Kakaza's spoken, it's back to you to take the evening. It's yours and the poets and the audience. Enjoy. Thank you.
Sanborani. As Ishmael said, my name is Kakaza Mohari, and I have had the absolute honor of coordinating the Write to Speak project over the last year. Tonight I stand here representing all of the amazing partners who have made this possible. To say that I am proud of what we have achieved would really be an understatement of note. And tonight I'd really like to just highlight some of the successes of the Write to Speak project. Now, when Ismail and I had first spoken about this, we promised to keep it sweet and short, but that was before I knew how much we had to brag about. So please bear with me. After conducting some brief research into the poetry community by way of an online survey, the project partners sat with real insights directly from our community and our sector to enable us to design a program that was responsive to their needs, as well as the opportunities that the data mapped out for us. We set out to explore the very many ways in which poetry can and does give voice to various issues around human rights that impact us no matter where you are in the world. We were guided by 5 core objectives, which were to create a space for poets in South Africa and Europe to connect, engage, exchange experiences, to help poets build strong international relationships, creating opportunities for poets to perform and share their work with the world, capacity building for the sector to ensure sustainability, and also spotlighting the undeniable excellence of South Africa's poets. Yeah. Yes. The project launched in March at the time of the Writer Festival, and in just 7 months, we have hosted 21 poetry events, all featuring poets and speakers from South Africa, Germany, France, Belgium, Flanders, and Sweden. Our monthly Twitter Space open mic nights have had poets and audiences in South Africa, Germany, Eswatini, America, and Japan, sharing poems and reflecting on human rights issues in their own countries. Our Poetry Lekgotla online discussion had some of our most respected poets in conversation with Poet Laureate Ndade Wallonie, as well as a very engaged audience in the comment section, unpacking issues around publishing, performance fees, copyright, and financial sustainability of poetry as a career. We then ran a workshop series that had to 60 participants, all tuning in for a 19-minute masterclass for 6 nights in a row, sharpening their skills and deepening their understanding of the business behind the art. From financial literacy, branding, proposal writing, to funding, art administration, and tools for multimedia production. The sessions were lively and engaging, and also mainly led by poets, which really made clear how much work goes on behind the scenes for those who are building a sustainable career in poetry. Through our Poetry Passports events, we had a real taste of France and Belgium, and what was meant to be a night of performance, of poetry performances in an embassy, really expanded into a residency and collaboration between 2 Belgian poets and 4 from South Africa. The poets engaged and collaborated with our local homegrown talent, giving birth to a really beautiful collective poem that allowed the poets to reflect on a not so beautiful racist incident that they all had to endure, making the theme of human rights a lot more real than anyone had expected or intended. We also participated in France's first regional forum in the Our Future Africa and Europe Dialogue series, with a focus on the revitalization of democracy through innovation and creativity. I'm almost at the end. Each month, 3 phenomenal poets from Sweden, South Africa, and Germany have written poems and 6-word stories reflecting on the different international days of significance. And their words have been matched with some breathtaking photography that really brought their poems to life. And all of this digital content is available across all of our social media channels. And lastly, just earlier today, we launched the first of its kind catalog of South African poets who are ready for the international stage. And thanks to the amazing team at CCA and UKZN Press, there's an accompanying anthology that Ishmael spoke about, featuring 20 of the most talented poets in South Africa. Yeah. Now, that list of 20 poets would not be complete without the phenomenal force that is Abisobili. So let me end by taking a moment on behalf of all of the project partners to firstly thank you for the truly beautiful poems and the 6-word stories that you have given the Right to Speak project, and definitely congratulate you on that win. May you continue to raise South Africa's flag high. May that brilliant mind of yours continue to come up with the wildest ideas of what we can do with this poetry thing. And may you continue to be an example of just how top tier our community is. Thank you all for coming through tonight.
Thank you, Sis Kagaza. Thank you, Dr. Ismail Mohammed and Dr. Shongwa. Now, Poetry Africa Festival this year really invites us to explore voices that transform and move us. So after the performances tonight, we're also going to give you an opportunity to reflect on the notion of the right to speak, as Kagaza has spoken, and just share your written contributions with us on the poetry tree that you may have seen outside in the foyer. But let's finally get to it, the glue that brings us all together tonight, after all the formalities. We have amazing performers tonight. We celebrate with some performances from across the globe, really. And these are Philip Milsman from Brussels. Let's give him a round of applause. We have Paul Bosch from Catalan. And we have Radhi Sobili, who's brought the award home from South Africa. We have Najla Libre from Sweden. And last but not least, Lido from Cameroon. On that note, first up tonight is the lovely Lido from Cameroon. She's also known as Nwafo Dolly Sorrell. She's the first female slammer to be nominated for the Prix de Courvois. She has made a name for herself and her discipline, which is slam, in Cameroon and across the continent. She's got 2 albums in her discography, Slam Therapy, and the second one called Hybrid, with several singles. Lido's artistic approach is coupled with an educational ambition. She has doctoral ambitions in economics, and as a multi-talented artist, she now also adds other disciplines to her performances. She embodies her texts in a theatrical way, can't wait to see that, and sometimes sings them as a way of popularizing slang to other audiences and of getting out of the narrow confines of the intimate spaces usually reserved only for spoken poetry. What a hybrid artist you are. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to open tonight, Lido.
Untitled. Okay, I'm really happy to be here. I think she said a lot of things. Sometimes I can't recognize myself in what she said because, Okay, let's go straight to the point, right? It's better, right? Okay. Pain barged in my life and tried to change the rules. To destroy myself, she started from my roots. When she turned me into a life school student, I was only 14. Sorry, but for me, that was too huge. But I'm ready. Ready to move to a different area. Ready to turn the page and start a new career. Monday, 21st January 2008. Sometimes I used to ask myself, will I ever forget this date? Monday, 21st January 2008. My father had a car accident and he died. That was the beginning of the second part of our lives. My mother was not working, so we had no money, no food, no clothes for me, no school. Unable to pay the rent, we had nowhere to go in the street. My mother and I knew hunger and cold. But I'm not going to tell you all the things we passed through. We left them behind us. It was too heavy to carry. That's not an ordinary fight for some of you to see someone that gave up the past, but for me it is. I've learned how to think and act with accuracy and hurry, because if I know the meaning of darkness today, it's not because I saw the word in the dictionary. I know what the meaning of tears is. They have been my friends during many years. Please, can you turn? Try to turn now. Turn. Turn now. Are you saying something? Are you saying something? No. There is nothing to say. In fact, we should never look back but forward, because life is in front. I'm not looking forward, because let's keep in mind you have to be strong. I'm not life literate, but I know that scars are there to remind us where we are coming from. But it shouldn't tell us where we have to go. It's not the past, but the future we have to follow. Yesterday, today was tomorrow. We can't change the past, but if you like, you can be my hero. So I'm ready. Ready to move to a different area. Ready to turn the page and start a new career, because many years after all my sufferings, I told myself not to cry. For the simple reason that I'll soon maybe be the mother of a child. I saw all the sacrifices my mother did for me. So I'd like to do the same for you. I promise to do my best to preserve you from all the horrors in you. In you, life is given. There's not only hell on earth, but also even and even when things will change. Never mind, I will learn you how to face up evils. And when sometimes some hill will seem too high, never be afraid. I will help you to climb. You're not yet there, maybe, but because of you, today I can smile. You're the one that brought me from darkness to light. Thank you. Coming back to Durban, I said the other day, I have the feeling that it's here that everything started for me, because 8 years ago I came for the Poetry Africa, and during one workshop, I realized that being a poet, that was what I wanted to do for a living, and since then, I didn't stop. So thank you, Durban. Thank you very much. Yesterday, I was at the Inanda College, and I performed the text in French. I was really afraid about performing in French, but I said, why not? Should we? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Why not? Yes, why not? Vous savez, en fait, plus on grandit, plus on se rend compte que les choses qu'avant on rencontrait n'étaient en fin de compte que des passagers portant leur compte, que notre existence se compterait, que, contrairement à ceux qui se racontent, ceux qui se prennent pour des contes ou font leur compte sans tenir compte, Dieu des comptes ne sont faits que des comptes. car tôt ou tard, c'est clair qu'on doit rendre des comptes. Je suis de ceux qui pensent, de ceux qui disent, de ceux qui se mentent et de ceux qui se méprisent, mais je suis de ceux qui se parlent, de ceux qui s'aiment, de ceux qui récoltent mais qui fuient quand on sème. Comme presque tout le monde, j'ai la foi. Je suis de ceux qui croient, de ceux qui se disent faibles mais qui chaque jour portent leur croix. Je suis de ceux qui se cachent, moi aussi je connais la peur. Je suis de ceux qui rient mais plus proches de ceux qui pleurent. Je suis de ceux qui se couchent, de ceux qui se lèvent, de ceux qui pensent à demain, ils vont bien prendre la relève. Je suis de ceux qui cherchent et de ceux qui se trouvent. Je suis de ceux qui trouvent l'église et côtoient le bord du gouffre. Je suis pas de ceux qui marchent, moi. Je suis de ceux qui courent, de ceux qu'on aime et à qui des fois on a peur de faire la cour. Je suis de ceux qui rêvent, s'énervent ou se mettent en rogne. Je suis de ceux qui ont deux mains, celles qui reçoivent et celles qui donnent. Vous savez, en fait, plus le temps passe et plus on apprécie le passé. On voudrait bien tenir le temps, on laisse, mais tout va vite, on se lasse, la chair elle s'éloigne de l'os, la pente est de plus en plus lisse, tu résistes, mais à la fin tu te laisses aller, tu glisses. Je suis de ceux qui rendent fiers, mais qui sans le savoir, des fois déçoivent. Ceux qui parcourent le monde à la recherche des trésors les plus suaves. Je suis de ceux qui tombent, ceux qui ne connaissent pas la perfection. Je suis de ceux qui s'emportent, ceux qui des fois perdent la raison. Je suis de ceux qui espèrent, de son regard aussi je me perds. Seigneur, en pitié, je fais partie de ceux qui croient en leur Père. Je suis de ceux qui viennent, de ceux qui partent, de ceux qui chambre après chambre chez les portes. Si tu regardes bien, tu verras bien que je suis de ceux-là, qui aimeraient bien tourner la page, laisser la parole à leur âge pour avoir le cœur léger, regarder le monde d'un étage. Je m'appelle Idole, oui. Je suis de ceux qui ont raison. De ceux qui savent dire oui, mais des fois répondent non. Je suis de ceux qui vivent, de ceux qui meurent. En fait, je suis juste comme vous, l'un de plus de 7 milliards d'êtres humains. Thank you. A kind of summary is just a way to remind that I'm just a human being, you know, with my imperfections, with my weaknesses, but also with all the things that I have to give to the world. So that's it. You know, in Cameroon, we have more than 250 languages. Official ones are French and English. We have a kind of hybrid tongue that is a mixture of French, English, and Cameroonian local languages. It's called Camfranglais. And then, aside of English, we have Pidgin. Do you know Pidgin English? You know this kind of English, whether we talk, you feel like we're kids. Sometimes in day, one time you get a job, but if you say some kind of biology form, we are still not giving you, not even place where you come on. So, maybe in your own day, I will not be able to say this text, but since I'm in Joburg, things are for you, but you remain are for you. Yes, so. Things are for you, but you remain are for you. Okay, so the text I'm about to perform is entitled, it's confidence. Nothing to do with me trusting myself, self-confidence, no. I always say things I want to talk. I'm not ever talking at all. Should I start it? At all? I mean, no person will betray me. No person will send me. No person I want to talk, take up anything like some guy now. No talk. Then you look like some person who if you go talk. You say, I don't have for you, but don't take up around some guy. Okay, here it goes. Things they know the worker. Now, true say some people they don't start to call me waka with me and they never ever jump for some place, but really, things they know the worker. I beg not to look my pictures for Facebook, see us at the lab, and they are bad. Palava price, inflation. You won't buy some small things, you don't even see things where you don't buy them, when you don't already finish. Maybe they for market the scene and fire. Even for self picking for school, way no day. Sometimes the money they way day, but way no day. You get some small sick, so you know if you go to hospital, you fear because if you don't carry some big one, you go even pass you. First of all, if you don't get money, first you don't even look. You won't go left. Chief man then be. You won't go right. Policemen they don't start to use their uniform, they say I got the power system. Roads they don't spoil. Every day for news. That's also accident. We decide to we start in daddy nana. We now know to daddy baba saso. Sasu mami nani tati daddy wa we nana wa we saso papa so daddy wa. Things are not working. And it's not because we keep quiet. This is just a reminder to leaders, brothers and sisters, and all those people who take decisions that From the top to the ladder, to the bottom of the ladder, we are human beings. We need to change things. Thank you. Okay, today is I'm the one opening, so don't tell me that I can do whatever I want. And before I came on stage, she asked me, because I'm also a singer, I just released an album, as she said. My second one, that is entitled I Wait. And one of the most popular song of we have more than 1 million views on YouTube for the song. Yeah. It's Bango Bango. Bango Bango, it means you and I forever, when I stop with you. Whatever happened, you and me today. That's the name. And I want you to sing with me. Yes. Okay. The only thing you have to reply is Andolamio. Andolamio. Let's try. It means my love. So don't be afraid. Andolamio. Okay, let's try. Eyina benda opena samba, opena sisenda opena samba. Eyina benda opena samba, opena sisenda opena samba. Say bango bango, please say it for yourself. It's Poetry Africa. We're here to share words that move, that breathe, that transform. So, just give me some words and I'll write you a text. If you flavor some of your life, I'm gonna change the taste. Ask me a fruit and I'll give you a tree and I'll give you a phone. Never mind, just hold my hand and you will never fall. If you give me some air, I will blow a ball wind. Show me your faith and I will teach you how to win. I can start the song with just a drop of rain. All this just to take away your pain. Just give me a brick and I'll build your house. Say that you are healed and I'll cover the house. With a handful of seeds, the farmer will grow and I'll always need fire, Many things have it to roll. Nature, peace, love, faith, future, prison, past, dreams, pleasure, battle street. If you hide, I will seek you like a treasure. Just give me birds and with a necklace, I will have done your neck. If you were behind bars, I would have staged a prison break. Surely the writer of a story will release a bestseller. If you were the cast of Criminal Minds, you'll be out tonight this area. Killer. Just give me a plant, and you'll have a forest, a Bible, and I'll pray for you for the rest of my life. I'll never ask you for the moon. Just give me what you think I deserve. Give me a grain of sand and I will give you back a desert. Give me a drop of water and I'll make you swim in the sea. Open my eyes and I will tell you what I see. If you give me your nights, I'm gonna dream about you. If you give me your nights, I'm gonna dream about you. If you give me your nights, I'm gonna dream about you. But if you give me your heart, I will always love you. Thank you. Now I'm about to share a text that is really personal to me. We're facing in Cameroon since 5 years now what we call the Anglophone crisis. The kind of, it was supposed to be a normal day, a normal classroom in a normal school. But nothing seemed normal when they crossed the door, got into a classroom with cutlasses, knives, guns in their hand, anger in their eyes, no words, no reason, just violence, smell of death, sounds of fear, shots, shouts, and tears. We were 23 in the classroom on Saturday. It was supposed to be a normal day, but we were just 15 left on Monday. Because 8 of us were not strong enough to cling to life. And when I asked my elder sister, she told me that they were at the wrong place at the wrong moment, but I was there too. So anywhere I find myself now, I'm always afraid that it might be the wrong place or the wrong time, or I might be the wrong one. It was supposed to be a normal day. I remember I used the table to hide and protect myself. Use my exercise book to preserve my ears from listening to the wails of Sophie crying her eyes out when the knife traveled from one side of her neck to the other. I tried unsuccessfully to close my ears, but I forgot to close my eyes, so I saw her last break, saw her last facial expression, and watched her blood flowing towards me. It was supposed to be a normal day. October 24, 2020. It was a normal day everywhere, but not in Kumba, and nobody explains. It was supposed to be a normal day, but children are not killed on normal days. 5 things I told myself every morning to remind me that I'm supposed to be not just a woman, but a strong black one. 1, you're powerful. Because you know exactly what your weaknesses are. The day you came to life, you came already ready for your war. You are as powerful as the sun and the moon combined. You light up the stars. Remember, you're watching your trophies anytime you're looking at your scars. 2, you're smart, intelligent, and proud. Your voice is the drum that makes the world dance. You spread love and you speak loud. Able to bear a child, raise a man, and build a kingdom. When some people don't know where they are going to, they look at you to remember where they come from. In the ocean, you are the wave. You just don't show the direction, you are the wave. 3, you're precious. You salt of the universe, queen mother of humanity. Never give yourself to someone that doesn't deserve you. Remember, you have to fight, not against men. You have to fight against violence, injustice, discrimination. You have to fight for your rights, fight for freedom, fight for peace, fight for your sisters that are not even aware that there is a problem. You're so precious to us and the world, because each time a woman stands for herself, she stands for all women. 4, you're beautiful. Just the way you are, with your flawless imperfections. You already are the best version of yourself, with the perfect body, perfect height, perfect shape, perfect skin tone and hair texture, a beautiful queen with a perfect posture. 5, you're just a human being. So anytime you feel like crying, may your tears erase your pain and draw a smile on your face. Remember that being angry, sad, or feel tired is just a phase, and that being a woman is part of the thing you're going to face. Thank you. And last one. I think I made my 15 minutes already. So, Durban, are you there? I choose you. In front of everything and everybody, I decided you to be part of me and me to be part of you, even if it's just a few. I choose your smiles amongst thousands, raised when you've been rising because I've been waiting for you when other people have been browsing. So I choose you. Just for the way you make me feel. You know, since that I'm with you and the love is real, I have been me the heart that Jesus feels. Because the day we met, you turned my life into a fairy tale. You turned my life and you hold my hand and you told me that I couldn't fail. You're more than my confidence. Since that I'm with you as a secret that I couldn't tell. I choose you. Because before, I was just an empty shadow moving from the left to the right. I was a whirlwind, but I wasn't glowing on the right side. I thought I was in love, that I'd been in love, but you came in and you changed my mind. Because you just, at the door of my heart, and I opened with that accent and a feel. Because besides you are a great God, even when I'm standing on my knees, because without any hesitation, I give you all I have, because you are all I need. Because you're so special that you turn me into the special one. I can even tell you all the things that I already want. You learned me. That love doesn't need to be perfect. It has to be true. So Durban, I choose you.
What a thrilling and moving emotional roller coaster of a performance. Thank you so much, Ledo, for that offering. Ladies and gentlemen, also with us tonight, we have Najla Libre, all the way from Sweden. performing, wrapping up our first session of the night. We will have a 15-minute interval. I'd just like to say hello to Sis Lebo Mashile, Sis Bandile in the house, Pando Cruze in the house. It's lovely to be with you all tonight. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Catalan is Paul Gauche. Paul Gauche. He is a poet and a member of the cultural production company La Sullivan. He earned an undergraduate degree in literary theory and comparative literature. He holds a master's degree in construction and representation of cultural identity, academia. He has been an associate professor of literature and cultural critique at the University of Barcelona and is currently researching contemporary theory and literature at King's College in London. He has published the poetry collections Tanta Gana and La Paz del Folk and has recited his poems at various national and international festivals. He won the Anagrama Award in 2021 with his first novel, Napalm in the Heart. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Paul Gauche.
Hi everyone, how are you? Okay, my surname is so difficult to say, it's Paul Gauche. Yeah. And my biography is so boring, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I don't proceed. I didn't write that, it must be on the internet. Okay. But my reading is not that exciting, I'm so sorry. So it's kind of like my biography. But anyways, okay, I am a Catalan poet, that means that I am from Catalonia. Catalonia is nowadays a part of Spain, but well, it's such a topic. The thing is that I write in Catalan. I also try to live in Catalan. So my poems are in Catalan. You are not going to understand them, but I hope that you feel them. I just wanted to say that maybe it makes sense that I'm here because my poetry tries to talk about people or relationships trying to create common worlds and how that is and how sometimes becomes impossible, right? So I'm going to read about these things. Aquí hi he estat abans. He vist aquest crim nou altra vegada. He vist aquest ficus vermell florir tants cops. Ja. He vist el lloc, l'hora, la data, aquesta mateixa data exacta. He vist el fruit tallat pel mig i la polpa brillant al sostre. He vist també el pes d'una destral entre les mans i no duia cap destral agafada entre les mans. He vist el futur en figures de porcellana i jo les podia moure, corrupte. He vist la mentida vívida i inútil desconnectar tants cables poderosos que eren tan forts. He vist com tothom em deia, ets com ell, era com tu, t'hi assembles massa. He vist morir una nit que era tota meva al llit del mar dels ramats de muntanya i el seu estar l'herba com t'agafava jo les mans. També, molt temps després, l'esclat dels ulls damunt les fulles i les flors i els fruits que ho pintaven tot de carmí i s'unia amb la vida gelatinós al món. He vist l'aigua que es movia fent cercles en l'estany i les carpes obrint les boques on cabia un altre món sencer a dins i en cada flor cagada els dava també un tros de mel, de pell sobrera. I he vist com sé que veuré quan de nou torni a ser aquí pensant sense barana, que de petit van demanar-me una missió que desconec i he de complir. Van posar-me-la a les mans, van dir, Maté, ara et crea un Déu, i ni la tramuntana ni aquest vent d'estepa no l'han dissolt encara. Quina tristesa d'avui endavant, el nostre tan estret cercar-nos per les pedres entre les cases on ja no viurà mai més ningú. A dins dels escenaris invisibles que dèiem que viuríem algun dia, vés a saber com i vés a saber quan. Per sobre la sal, allí col·lidits entre la grava, xaulant cançons que no haurem escoltat mai. Sentir el soroll del caminar i que no siguis tu qui va buscant-me. Cap mà ja no em diu adéu si no és la teva. L'amor, which means love, l'amor també era això, un recer en la intempèrie i totes les ventades després. Descompartir, que vol dir trencar, i separar-nos per refer el capdell i trobar-nos per desfer el capdell sota el cel rovellat de tant mirar-lo. No embastar la vida, desbotonar-la. La vida, lloc on es fa impossible viure, l'amor, lloc on es fa impossible estimar. Cremar-se les mans amb la neu tan freda que fa gruix davant de la sortida i tancar les portes de l'infern i esperar que n'hi hagi prou i que es perdi la malura pels camins enrevessats, obrir-les després d'enyor de flamarada i cridar la paraula vida, la paraula amor, i esperar sempre, sempre esperar que faci eco per les sales buides de l'infern que has tornat a obrir. Ser anterior a les paraules i desaparèixer rere l'engolida d'una pastilla que et retorna com una faula a l'inici, a un nou recer, aquell indret desconegut, també mogut per les ventades. L'amor. Okay, now I'm going to do something that I have never done, which is reading my poems in English because someone translated them. So please have compassion for me, okay? It's the first time I read my poems in English. I'm going to read 3 of them, first in Catalan and then in English, because I have the feeling that you have to grasp a little bit what I'm writing about. So I read them first in Catalan and then in English. Yeah, that's it. Tinc no només els secrets que guardes entre l'aire congelades a puntes d'assenyalar-te sempre, sempre és massa. D'assenyalar-te el camí que jo no vull i sempre agafes. Millor la dada que el naufragi pares dir-me, però ni de marees ni de talls, jo sé parlar-te. Només secrets que guardo al puny ja no et serveixen. Inhàbils, les sagetes cauen a terra i veig com te'n vas i lentament faig ploure l'altre puny com si em guardés algun secret que ja no tinc per oferir-te. Ara que te'n vas. Okay, and that means kept not only secrets in a closed fist since I last saw you, but also readied arrows, suspended and worn-out fingers from always much, from showing the path that I don't wish to take, but you always do. Better the dagger than a sunken ship, you once told me, but we are not more able to talk about cats than ocean tides. So you flee up the path, only secrets held in my fist, they are no longer any good to you. Useless, the arrows fall to the floor. I watch you as you go, and I slowly squeeze my other fist, as if I were hiding some other secret that is not mine to offer you, now that you are leaving. Thank you, that's very like a positive, thank you. I'm happy that it was my first time, because if not, you would be like, okay. Okay, the second one. That's exciting. Conduíem sota la pluja, de nit, tornàvem no sé d'on, encara. L'autopista era un riu, dèiem, aquest camí no ens durà enlloc. Sobtadament vam encegar-nos amb el so d'un tro. Després, la llum del llamp. Vam situar-nos a un altar des d'on tot ho vèiem, el lloc exacte en què neix la descàrrega, aquell angle del núvol que crea la matèria informe. Teníem el xassís vibrant d'Electra, el tro i el llamp, un crit enmig la fosca de la nit, el groc mig resseguint les vies mortes, deixant de rastre pols lumínica pel riu, tenyint-ho tot daurat, ens dèiem. Aquest camí no ens durà enlloc. It's going to be slower in English. We drove in the rain. It was night, coming back from I don't remember where. The motorway was a river. We said, this road won't lead us anywhere. Suddenly, a belting thunder blinded us with its sound. Then the flash of lightning. We gathered our bearings on an altar from where we spied everything. The precise point where the discharge was born, the angle of the cloud that created this shapeless matter. The thunder, the lightning, a cry in the midst of the dark night, its yellowness partly following the dead roads, leaving particles of light drifting along the river, dying it gold, we said. This path won't lead us anywhere. Okay, and the last one, thank you very much. That was very good. Thank you. And not my poem, your sorry, good, thank you. Okay, the last one, it is kind of a letter, so you have to imagine that this is a letter that I write to someone. Jo et diria, amiga meva, que no hi ha ni risc, ni mort, ni vida. Ni tampoc un altre astre on puguem desfer el camí i plantar de nou els plataners, plantar de nou les bugamílies, plantar de nou arrels molt fondes i fruits sucosos de vellut que facin els dies molt més amples i les nits molt més brillants. Però si no hi ha ni risc, ni mort, ni vida, ni tampoc un altre oceà on sucar el cos i no enfonsar-se, ni un altre cel on respirar i no desfer-se, escolta'm bé, que sols vull dir-te. Agafa fort aquest no viure i el seu arrossegar-se pels camins. Agafa'l fort i digues, vine. Vine amb mi fins la fondària del glaçar, fins l'esvorant del precipici, fins l'entrada del volcà, fins la punta d'aquell llamp, i quan siguem just en el límit, deixem-nos anar la mà. I would say to you, my good friend, that there is neither risk, nor death, nor life, not even another planet on which we could melt away the path we have made and plant anew those trees. Plant anew with deeper roots and sweeter fruit to widen the days and brighten the nights. But if there is neither risk, nor death, nor life, not even another ocean to wet our bodies and not drown, nor another sky to breathe from and not come apart. Listen well, as I merely want to say you. Hold on tight to this non-life and the constant drag up and down these roads. Hold on tight and say, come. Come with me to the depths of this glacier, till the gaping hole at the precipice, to the volcano's opening, till the tip of that lightning bolt. And once we are at the very edge, let go of the other's hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for that very, very touching performance. Those lovely Catalan words that felt so sweet on our ears. Thank you. We have now everyday life and make with a poem in Swedish, and then I'm going to jump in and be brave and read some poetry in English. Actually, let's go. Let's do this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hjärnans frenesi, förföriska förgörande tankar, samhällsångest på lånad tid. Världen håller mig vaken, bakom varje möjlighet en hållhake. Kroppen tung som jordens förtvivlan, en ständig blick som alltid får mig att tvivla. Att alltid försöka vara en av de hårda, vill omvårda, vakna upp i något parallellt. Det är egentligen enkelt, jag vill leva ut i det som är snällt. Natten påminner mig om solitära system. Månen håller mig i handen, men vardagarna här ser mig som ett problem. Ett helt liv är det urbana vägen, men min själ har förslitningsskada på förslitningsskada som inte går att slipa bort. det vill hem till Anglima eller världsliga, en komplott. Försöker jorda mig, lägga undan. Kampen mellan att äga scenen eller vara i skymundan, vara en officer i motståndet eller bara blunda. Jag ser Faust och hans bröder frånta levebröd, livsglädje, blott ett minne. Vita salta tårar mot bruna sår. Vi får ibland det som är vårt, men ska helst vara, jag säger, stå i vrån som dekor. Fråga mig inte hur jag mår. Kolla rakt in och du kommer se min andes tillstånd. Det är våldet som censurerar min blund. Alla försök till drömmar fråntagna efter en stund. Thank you. Okay, I was talking to Mo. Everybody knows Mo because she's a proper celebrity. She's my manager here. If you could. Well, I didn't know it was going to become circus. Well, see that? Okay, like this, yes. Okay, yes. So yeah, we were talking, and I was reading the poems like to her, and she was like, "Okay, it's kind of a therapy session," and it made me think, like yes, this is basically a therapy session for me. So. Yes, thank you. I'm short, so I'm gonna do this so I can see the text. Okay. This text is about my father. Yes, and it's called "What is Father?" What is a father? A love story got executed in the jungle. My young father, mi papa, beside a cold body, disfigured features, and a mental breakdown from the depths of hell, Jahannam. His present and future filled with bullet wounds nobody could heal. He told me that one day when I came back home from school. Sitting in the most stereotypical of immigrant parent living rooms in the West, in a cheap burgundy leather sofa in a space filled with colonial aesthetics and post-colonial pain. My father came clean and painted me with his anguish. I was a child, and at that moment, he was a child too. A scared young boy who rarely got seen or heard. A mischief and a revolutionary with savior complex that was schooled in the name of empathy and justice that he rarely got to feel himself. A child that dreamt of superpowers so he could fly, kick away the pain in his mother's eyes, so he could save her from all the moments of torment that she inflicted on him. And my grandfather, mi abuelo, inflicted on her. And the torturing fascist soldiers that incarcerated mi abuelo made him go through. Dolor, pain, that led my grandmother, abuela, to leave her children, a second exile, escaping to yet another foreign country, and then come back because, sometimes suffering and love live in the same household. And they have mated and have birthed unbreakable bonds that nobody speaks of, but everybody silently accepts. And in that way, trauma creates tracks that pass through generations. And mi papa's childhood tears became sweet fights, became bloody knuckles, became broken doors and dinner plates, became metal household objects as weapons, became belt beatings, became constant nocturnal screams and cursed verdicts in Spanish. He punched and punished us. And in between the moments of total psychological rupture, he was a genius, a sensitive musician, and a comedian, singing and laughing away his anxiety,
teaching us about la lucha, about philosophers and nuestra historia, about everything about our history. He sang boleros and rancheras, operas and salsas. He created bubbles of joy with his guitar that he then bursted with unprovoked anger that came from the extermination of self and safety. And that genius, he tried to crush my mother's spirit, tried to mute her voice, tried to kidnap her brilliance, underestimating her ways of warfare and survival, not understanding that she was a glorious mermaid who learned how to swim under tsunami waves long before his hurricane invaded her ocean. But this is not a mother story. That is another poem, for she is a woman, the backbone of creation. She is earth, and this poem is flat. This is my father's piece of poetry. The big boy that became a minuscule man, the boy who did not survive, the boy that made sure to always remind us that for him, our presence was the symbol of his failures. Piercing holes in our souls and then yelling at us for leaking energy, commanding us to smile for the guests, but not understanding that you cannot harvest happiness when the only thing that you have planted is grief. And that boy or man or the one I used to call Papa told me, his oldest daughter, su hija mayor, that he told me his deepest secrets that day when I came back home from school. And then he made me swear on our holy Quran to never tell them to no living being. But here I am, breaking treaties and family conventions, because loyalty is no longer something I feel obliged to. Porque, Papa, you fought wars long after you fled them, and made your children your enemies. You fed us despair, not thinking about the consequences and not understanding that you cannot raise children as rebels in a guerrilla and make yourself a dictator and then think that the revolution will not reach your walls. And that time, and with time, and that day, at that moment, we revolted against the violence, against the double standards, against the lies, against escaping rage rants in pajamas, against locking ourselves into bathrooms or hiding in our bedrooms. Papa, we won the armed conflict. And you became the villain and the victim in your self-inflicted war. And we left you as a shattered shadow in our past. And finally, alhamdulillah, we learned the significance of peace. Thank you so much. So that was hard. And I'm shaking. Thank you. Thank you. So, yes, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is actually Najla Aldilia Vargas Al-Ayb. But it's too long for an artist name, so we went with like Najla Libre. There is a mix between Najla is actually Najla, but my father is Chilean and my mother is Libyan, and they met, and in between the cracks, my name like formed, So yes, so I'm like from all over, and
Yes, I'm very happy to be here, as I said, and now I'm going to continue with the next poem. And it's like, yeah, you're going to hear. Why do you talk like that? That's what you hear, like, okay, chill. Hold on. I just want to do. Okay, this one is called Monster Syndrome. Big up Mo Africa, because she named it. And I wrote it now on the plane when she was late. Sorry. The monster's hands against my sister's body, shoving her towards its cave. Roaring carbon monoxide, the monster is slowly taking her life. My sister lives in a morbid fairy tale, a modern version of Beauty and the Beast. She thinks violence is a love language. She thinks that imprisonment and safety are synonymous, and that crocodile tears are authentic. She confuses passion for love, not understanding that the monster will never know what real meaning and deep affection is. The monster's razor blade words cut deep, but my sister thinks her skin is made of Valerian steel, not noticing how the monster is carving wrinkles in her face. She suffers in silence, but her aura carries hostility, changing nuance from gold to gray. The first time the monster invaded her castle, she threw herself out of the highest tower and ran through the forest towards us. But it caught her in an open field and locked her in a dungeon. My sister has tried to save herself multiple times. She has tried to leave during all the hours of the day. Nightly plans to flee have become packed bags by our mother's doorstep. But the same bags will be found a couple of days later by the castle gate. My sister is bruised, going deeper and deeper into the monster's den. My advices fly over her head. Our other sister's disappointment with her it disappears in places where emotions get lost. My mother's repetitive words of wisdom become mantras that she has learned by heart, but she is not reacting. I'm afraid that monster has become a Medusa in her life. My sister is turning to stone, becoming desensitized, carrying this burden all by herself, ashamed of looking us in our eyes, not reaching for our hands, believing the patriarchal idea that help is equivalent to weakness. She has become overly independent, but emotionally addicted to the monster. The line of women in our family trying to save women from monsters keeps on growing, and the story is told once again, marra, then marra, thalith marra, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. I want to free my sister from the sins of monsters. I want her to bloom again. I want her to shine again. I want her to fight the monster with fire, cut herself loose from his grip. I want her to be her own knight in shining armor. I want her to slay the monster with a sword of gold forged by women. And that she at last understands that she is power, that she is magic, and that she is the loved hero in her story. The English is just, it tangles my, with my, I don't know what to call it, like, blah, blah, blah. So, I always tell people, like, it's like a revolution in my throat. It's like, articulate. Just think your English class, like, hello. Anglo-Saxon, you know, colonialistic language. Charlatan. This poem is called The Mothers. The night awakes history to life, and I'm retracing generational faults and fights, seeing our shadows break and meet to pieces. I carry all the galaxies of the universe inside of me, between them a darkness, feminine energy flowing through my sentences, ancestral teachings. These words are older than me, wiser than me. They are all the mothers of my family tree, trying to help us break or try to break them. They are telling us to stand in our power, to not disbelieve our truth. They are telling us that we are the antidote to masculine toxins, that we should never be formed or reshaped by that which is always trying to place our complexity in a grave. My heart is shouting, torches and survival, rebelling against tyrants and their shooters. Corruption feeds my anxiety. To serve or not to serve, to care or not to care, to protect or not to protect. Those are the questions, and the questions circulate in my mind's roundabouts, vertigo and friction, all the wrongdoings, all the internalized fists. The battles we fought, the sacrifices and the loss, the floodgates and the convictions that were never ours, upholding the perfect smile that dragged us into black holes. I am trying to keep myself rooted, to not lose myself in rotten paradoxes, to not lead and live without love, to understand that indifference is violence in disguise. I am trying to keep the words of my beloved ones close, to embrace myself in gratitude, to remind myself of the countless blessings in my life. I am trying to reach Jannah through light, trying to be close to the force that guides us. I am trying to make all the women in my family tree proud. Yes, so that was all, like my show was on now. No, but thank you so much. Thank you, Nashla. That was so touching. You had us holding our breath and breathing and releasing. Thank you for sharing your heart with us tonight and those deep hues that influence your creative work. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the first half of our evening. We are going to take a 15-minute refreshment break. I'd just like to let you know if you need to use the bathroom as you exit, you turn to the right and you turn to the right again. I do believe that the poets' anthologies are available on sale just as you exit the theatre as well, so please do support. And we will see you after 15 minutes back here for some more entertaining offerings from our poets. Thank you very much. and gentlemen, welcome back. We hope that you had a brief opportunity to connect, network, mingle, enjoy the wonderful performances from the UKZA Jazz Band outside. And now we bring it back home to Mzansi. Local is lekker. This next poet is a critically acclaimed producer, writer, performer with a strong national footprint and a growing international presence. She holds a master's in English literature from the University of Cape Town, and her background in theatre is what makes her a truly captivating performer whose work leaves a lasting impression on audiences across the world. Those that have seen her can attest to that. She was the first African ever to perform at the Rhetoric, the biggest poetry event in the world in Los Angeles, California. She's also been featured in the Open Book Festival, National Naked Word Festival, Word and Sound International Youth Festival. Her most recent multi-genre production, hashtag We Are Dying Here, was co-written with poet Hope Neshibame and award-winning musician Babalo Magwetu. Yes. It debuted at the Artscape Theatre in November 2019, and it recently won a SAFTA. And right now we also received news that Spogazi Jonas just won the Western Cape Cultural Award for the most innovative artist. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Spogazi Jonas.
Wallonie?
Hey! This mic is hot. Hey, things have happened.
Can we just give another round of applause to the poets that are great? What's beautiful? We were just sitting there just like, you know, I just like, shut up. Amazing. So I enjoy being part of this community because it's just so heartfelt and beautiful and creative and so I'm feeling reflective tonight. I didn't write a lot of poems around COVID. I thought it was too soon. And I'm serious. It's too close up to really have anything meaningful to say about what it means within the timeline of our history. But I do have a few observations, especially around grief. And I think my own understanding of death, its proximity, its frequency, and the space needed to grieve have really changed as a result. So I'm just going to share a few observations and poems based on that. This is first Christmas. Today, tomorrow, and on days which have no names to announce their coming. It will always be too soon to speak of you as a memory. At lunch, we pickled tongues for lunch, dished out a bowl of silence, stored its weight in both cheeks. In some cultures, the living cover all the mirrors when death visits. It is how they give space to a grief that changes your face, and no one recognizes themselves in the unveiling. Quick spa. You guys have just it's like a Cape Town thing. Two aunties cast stories to each other like a pair of dice in the queue and spot. One hand on the news, the other on a sanitized trolley. Bernice came out of ICU, had a fit and died. It's like that these days, the other says. Bernice will never make it into the Sunday Times. Her number, not her name in the COVID report. Had I not gambled between doom and Morty multi-bug spray, I would have missed how grief seized her name out of their mouths. Eavesdropping on death in transaction. I borrow the die they rolled in the eye to cast them here and on other street corners. It's okay, you don't have to clap. It's all right. I wrote this when I was sitting at the beach in Port Alfred, when we were not allowed to go to the beach. So there's a bench overlooking the beach. You remember that time when water, we were like, yes. I think of Ingrid Jonker, who walked into the sea and floated out. Bundled the darkness of 3 Ack Bay around her shoulders and pausing on the nervous shore, determined how many steps it took for walking away to become walking towards something. Even if something was the Atlantic current called to any reasons for staying. Her mind salted by depression, she walks until she can no longer measure the depth of the water with her feet. Sand separates under her weight, and what remains is deep. Paddling before she remembers to sink, her lungs resist pallbearer waves which have come to carry her breath home in white gloves. Whenever my friend returns to us alive out of the cold and dark of depression, his body is first to arrive. He parodies normal for days after. But we hear the anxiety diluted in his voice, the brackish laughter, fishing for parts of him that do not float out when he does. Before the July night in 65, Ingrid Jonker drew a line underneath another by Dylan Thomas. After the first death, there is no other. She had been walking toward the sea all her life. How could she know that the tide would return her to us in verse? I want to take my friend to the beach somewhere along the Indian Ocean in summer, where we can read Ingrid's poems to each other and resurrect her line by line, then count the steps it takes to walk back home. Ufikile uNogumbe. Ugalelekile akaqoqozi umdilizi uqubasi. There is a flood inside our house. The water climbs up the walls when we weep. It does not let us breathe. Everything is wet with grief. Before this pandemic, we would cast a funeral song into the dark like a flare, and the neighbors would come to strengthen our arms as we drove the water out of the door before grief reached our ankles, before it swept us to our knees, before it flowed into the pots and our beds. To mourn meant a community gathered like a bank between you and the river of death. But now death has dampened this ritual. We mourn alone. Neighbors lift their own arms to relieve the water in their lungs. We are all drowning. This flood has reached into the inner rooms and quenched lives young and old. It has taken what we were not ready to lose. It spits the stories of the living into the street as injured furniture. The pensioner in line for a grant, whose life has no space to protest about the beach, but still she returns home clothes soaked. The man who dies for a beer in his own backyard. The nurse tying a tattered mask together with prayer and is still unprotected. The artist who contemplates eating her own words to ease her hunger, and art starves. This flood ruins us all. But what of the after? When the depth of this moment is absorbed by history, who will we be? We're a people who know how to rebuild out of the remnants of disaster, and we will do it again and again. When we salvage what is usable, may we find ourselves baptized into something new, with new ways of mourning, a people who have learned to breathe underwater, reciting the names of those we have lost and memories that never sink. I'm going to shift gears very sharply. I'm going to do a couple of poems, just a few poems about how much I hate how colonization gave me English, and how hard it is to feel confident about writing this prosa, because I feel like an imposter. And then because through this time, I just was like, whatever, and started writing this prosa. So I'm going to extract from a poetic monologue. When all is mixed to dough, I hold a pinch of every prosa poem I write up to my mother's mouth to knead between her teeth. We deliberate on dry ingredients. This idiom here, this translation there, these puns here and those ones there, but she is mum on my substitution of self-rising flour for yeast. She knows it is the best I can do in the circumstance of a tongue baked in surrogacy. Every December, I bring English poems. I present Mama with English poems to match the decadence of the season, in exchange for a Tupperware full of Western cook, because English, with its heavy hand of sugar, corrodes my vernacular. English does not let me forget that this bowl I work in is borrowed. So when we break bread at the kitchen table, we slather slices of my mother's tongue, smear it with rama, and steer it along a steaming tide of rooibos or a glass sweating with ice and boros. But I do not know how to make this meal last me all year long. I want to pray, Mrs. Kosa, give us this day our daily bread. And when we commune with you, never let us need grace again. Do you remember wearing Mama's 2 big shoes and bag, and her satin blouse which wore you to the knees? Eventually, you grow into her, then outgrow things that neither of you are willing to address. You are still an imposter in your mother's tongue. See, when you write and it's a course, you feel as if everyone is looking at how tight and narrow English is on your feet. Now you are a bone out of place, a banyan of cultures at war. But all you want to do is to walk around town in your mother tongue without limping. This is Home Recipes, Appetizers and Snacks, Samosas. That's the title of the poem. Not to make you hungry. Garam masala seasons the air and summons us from every room in the house into the kitchen door. And adhan, calling us to ritual in fragrant song. We congregate around my grandmother's table like cumin, coriander, and bruised bay leaves. The mortar and pestle of her voice can grind truth out of a reluctant mouth. We are converted in this gathering. Black cardamom seeds broken open by the press of laughter, Aunts, mothers, and daughters who smell of smoke and ghee. Grandmother hums in arthritis, hollows out the slopes of all-purpose flour, then invites us to fill it with confession. Bring the flour to the water, she says. This is how she taught us to make pastry, by quenching the flour and salt with water. To knead is to pray with both hands, knuckles kneeling in the dough. I watch these older women subdue their wombs with a rolling pin, wombs that do not translate into the new language when crossing seas into new countries. They repurpose strips of dough into bandages and seal the evidence with paste. Grandmother folds the strips into triangles. She passes the soft pyramid to me like an heirloom and finds me patient. With spoonfuls of mashed potatoes and peas, between the two of us, the body of a samosa takes its shape. This is how we have cooked for generations. This is also how I stuff my accent and my skin inside my best English. A lunchbox that breathes masala into closed spaces. I have learned not to stomach our food in public. To do so is to air the pungent history which follows me out of the womb through the kitchen door into a world where my vernacular is suspicious. It smells like another country, they say. Makes them ask where my family comes from originally. Force me to search further back when I answer, here. A world that insults me by names which my mother and father did not dish out for me at birth. I want to unpack what fills my pockets. The burden I cannot put anywhere else but between my grandmother's knuckles inflamed with prayer. I want to migrate this table, the chutney of voices, the seething oil beyond the borders of our front gate into the street. I want the women in my family who follow their husbands to other countries to eat samosas in public. I'm making the crisp of gold brown skin blistered by heat with their teeth, to expose the entrails and tell their own fortune, to negotiate the names which they brought and the names which they cook for themselves. I want us to improvise about what no longer serves us in this recipe, to guess at the size of a pinch, the depth of deep fried, the length of a strip. Home will take its shape from how we knead English with our tongues or not. But masala will linger in the streets, on our fingers, in our breath. All right. So this is an extract from a monologue which I was asked to write. So immediately I panicked. It's like, and then I was like, sure. Yeah, it's performed beautifully by Peggy Mangwato. If you go to LitNet, you'll find, just look for Kusele, and you'll find this monologue performed beautifully. But I'll just do an extract. Quick, it's about a star that falls, loses its memory, becomes a guardian of the ocean, and is trying to figure out who they are and what it means to be human. So it's a mix of like, it's only Greek mythology, biblical parable, just fun stuff. Diva ilizwi lindibiza, ndihleli kunxweme lolwandle, sondela emanzini. Libiza na? Baninzi abahambi kufutshane lolwandle kodwa abeva nto. Ubomi buyaqhubeka. Xa ubizo lufika kuwe wedwa ingaba lolwakho kuphela. Kudala ndime kule ndawo ndityale inyawo nengcinga kulo mhlaba. Ilikhaya kungoku. Ndisabele. Ngeentsuku zengqele ndiyorhomba umngxunya ndambathe isanti okwengubo esindayo. Maxa ligqatsa ilanga ndiye nditshonele ngasezantsi kuvele intloko kuphela. Ayinamthunzi le ndawo. Kwiinzingo zeli xeshana umqalo ungaphandle.
Ndingummi wale ndawo olunxweme. Ndithuthuzelwa ngumngeni ondibeke kule ndawo, umkhuseli wolunxweme. Ndikubona konke okwenzekayo, abafikayo nabangabuyiyo. Ndimi phakathi kwamaza nobomi. Iinyawo zabo ziphaphatheka nomoya, inyama yabemi beli iyonakala. Bonzakala kukuhamba kwexesha. Amagama, iimbali, iimbuso, konke kumka nomoya. Ndikhumbula konke okwenzeka kule ndawo. Abo bandibonileyo bona bayandilibala, nakutshona ilanga kuvuke inyanga. Sondela emanzini. Ndisabele. Ukusabela kukufa. Iphinde yandindwendwela le mibono. Ezingceba ndizama ukuzicalucalula, ndidibanise apha, ndidibanise phaya, kodwa kumfiliba. Mhla kuzala inyanga iphelela, iphezu kwentloko yam, kudubana mafu, ubusuku bufana nemini. Kumnyama, kumhlophe, ndiye ndiphinde ndibabone. Olu lwandle iba sisibhili sam. Ezinzulwini ndiye ndikhulule ubuntu, kuvele umoya. Ndiphande izinto zakudala endazilibalayo. Mhla ndivuka kolunxweme, ndingekabi namzimba, ndavuka ndingenankumbulo. Ndayiqokelela isanti, ndayibumba, ndayenza umzimba, ndazakhela owam. Babuyile aba babili. Indoda nomfazi, andazi kodwa ndiqinisekile baziwa ngumphefumlo. Xa ndibabona ngeliso lengcinga, umlomo uyazivulekela, liyatyhudisa ilizwi, liphuma ngemiphunga, nokuqala liyatyekeza phezu kwamaza. Mama, tata, liphi? Thank you.
What a Shakespeare you are. Thank you for those lingering flavors that are going to carry us for days to come. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Poetry. I hope that as you listen and absorb, you remember that we are doing our reflections, and you'll have an opportunity to share with us your written contributions after the show. But the show's not over yet. And now from Kwaxhosa, Inasa ya Kwaxhosa, we take it all the way to Brussels. Up next, our poet is the curator of the Brussels Planetarium Poetry Fest and coordinator of the Belgian, European, and worldwide informal national slam competitions. He has a master's in art sciences and archaeology at the Flemish Free University of Brussels, and he's currently doing a PhD at the AP University College of Antwerp on transforming visual poetry into an immersive XR experience. Philip Milsman turns his poems into sculptural location-bound works of art and dates them just as visual artists do. He also provides his poems with a marker of the creation, location that defines the used writing techniques and materials. There is a Blue Somewhere is therefore not only a collection of his poetry, but also a travel chronicle and an exhibition catalogue. He is a multilingual poet. He pushes the boundaries of written and spoken poetry based on the news, socio-political, or environmental topics. He performs worldwide and gives experimental, visual, and performance poetry workshops. And tonight he graces the stage of the Poetry Africa Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome Philip Milsman. Thank you.
A Poetry Day. Again, a Poetry Day. Everybody's at scrabble double vowel values, hoping to digest a reader, a light one. Oops. I thoroughly take letters into virtuality, and chocolate bars are taking power, hurrah, hurrah. Chocolate bars are taking power, hurrah, hurrah. Everybody! Chocolate bars are taking power, hurrah, hurrah. Chocolate bars are taking power, hurrah, hurrah. Hazelnuts are being rigged, hurrah, hurrah. Hazelnuts are being rigged, hurrah, hurrah. They arouse me. Sleep. I counted sheep in Baskerville. 1, 2, 3, 4, 27, 22. Why, you ask? 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 I can go on like that for all night. Why, you ask? Because the poetry was in me that night. Even that night. Because cyber letters are anything but words in succession, in succession, in succession, a succession of sweet words that blots not come. Thank you, Poetry Africa, for having me here. I have a chocolate addiction, if that's not already clear. But on to the serious things now. Thank you, people, for the techniques for following this. I will do my first test in discipline, so Mo, sorry if I screw completely. Thank you. Because I want to dedicate this first part of my set. Yeah, well, here we go again. Wow. Something like, you have seen this before, but you still do this. Anyway. Yeah, well. Yeah, I have 15 minutes, so I need to move on. Sorry. First part of my set I want to dedicate to somebody who's not with us anymore. In 2018, I met Multimedia here, and we started working together. We made some different tracks together, so we have a little EP. But we were working on a CD and of him coming to the Brussels Planetary Poetry Fest, but sadly so, he didn't make it. Geoka Friola, Gorenara Homola Mala, Diretto di Attile, Redla Nyako Chuarello Gohoma. That was a phrase that he written, but luckily he translated this for me. If you arrive to us and we remain silent while poems are abundant, who shall we seek forgiveness from? This poem I read at the memorial service on December 23rd, 2020, because Matete, we think a lot about you. Now you left us. We remain silent. Words scarce, us puzzled, unfinished. Stanzas on drawing boards, in studios, in messages, scattered, a puzzle, unfinished. Grey rain descends while windows are weeping warm water. Silence sprouts ideas. Words well and finished. Your soul surrounds us, guide us through dream time, thoughts in abundance, pieces match. Our hearts full of you. This next one is, I heard already so many good singers, so I'm apologizing already from now because there are 2 songs coming. So, or something that should look like that, or listen. Anyway, it's fine. This one is called Red River. And as said, I date and the technique and so on. So this was written in Durban during the Africa Poetry Festival 2018, inspired by a conversation with Matete Motsoadele, and Lebo, you were there also. Because there was a room party in room 1006 in the Bel Air Hotel. So you can't deny that. In the night of October 17 till 18. So just so you know, in 2018, and it was written in notes on an iPhone 7. So, anyway. Yeah, sometimes people go very fast. I will try to do a blues, so please, you fantastic, beautiful singer, don't kill me afterwards, okay? And it's a bit about wars, so something that's very topical at the moment, apparently. There is a red river, you know, the water flows to an ocean, life flows through it. There is a red river, you know, tree taps, reeds waves, life flows through it. There is a red river, you know, tides and rains feed it, watering fertile lands. Life flows through it. There is a red river, you know. Too many times the river runs red, the river turns red. Life flows through it. There is a red river, you know. Banks littered, aspirations, hopes and futures, life flows through it. There is a red river, you know, a whole generation perished, trying to wade through it. Life flows through it. Every country has a river. Every country has a generation coloring rivers red with their lives washed away within the reeds, between the trees, washed up on the other bank. There is a red river, you know. Thank you. Next one is very personal, and I already posted it somewhere. This is a very therapeutic session. Poetry Africa, I would definitely recommend it to all psychologists. Get the people to Poetry Africa, they get completely inspired. So this one is based. I will try to do a blues again. Sorry about that. In between blues and grass, and if it doesn't go well, you can try to sing with it. And after that, it becomes funny. So this is first a serious one. Sorry. So it's based on the darkest and true events pivoted within the life of the main characters. There's a poem that is already lying more than 15 years and was adjusted during Poetry Africa to finally put it on the stage. I finally have the nerve to perform this. Names and places were changed, not to impact their lives. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. I will tell you my story, it will be a dive, emotion and spine on a stool with a noose. I'm ready to jump, to let it all loose. Motherfucker, shit, I'm here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. The day I was born, my sister, just 5, got beers with his horn. She knew his wife. My parents, he said, don't tell, don't dare. They don't have time for that newborn to care. I'm to blame for what happened to her. I feel so much shame for life getting blurred. It stays in the family. She was a beautiful dove. God will not punish, but cover it with love. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. At the age of 6, my initiation came, so I could wear also that family love stain. I didn't know better, naked I was. God would not punish, but cover it with love. Orphaned I felt, with downtown eyes. In my brain he painted deplorable lies of lives old enough to have lived by me. Completely untrue, drowned in a bottomless sea. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. A few years later, I tasted the love of man on a parking twilight, not willing, in his van. The hat that I gave, the stroke of my hand, I became his slave. I swallowed his one-night stand. So motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. 16 I was, modeling and cute. She circled around me, draping my suit. She was going to be my agent for life. Show me the world so that we glitter and thrive. Her lies were blatant, but I got screwed. As 40-year matron, I was on top of her list. I was still a virgin, totally unsure. The solution become a cunning linguist. That was my cure, but motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. Motherfucker, shit, we're here and alive. This life that I lived, the first quarter of time, I whitewashed these stories and kept it all mine. We all seek love, we dare. We all seek love, we care. The next quarter of my life is easier to share. I open myself to you as a group. I ladle it in my life as a soup. I loosened the noose which hung around my neck because I just wrote this, oh, what the heck. In capital letters, I gave that a stare. Defiant, I said, hey, fuck, I dare. Okay. The next one is in a completely different type of atmosphere. So, this is specially dedicated for all the poets who were already on the Joburg leg, so all the rest, sorry about that. Because I want to dedicate this poem especially to Dr. Ismail Mohammed. Because this poem is called Ice Cream. Now you scream. That was it. I may need to make a bit of promotion. Some of the poems are in There Is Blue Somewhere or This Is Belgian Chocolate. They are on sales outside. So please support the local community of poets, because there are not only my books, but there are a lot of fantastic books. So please take your bag and fill it in and buy books of the poets. They live on it. So the last one, and I hope I'm not going too much over time, the last one is dedicated to the town, the city that I work with. After a burnout, I before I stepped on the plane, resigned off. But still, it's called Brussels, and it needs a little bit of audience participation. So I'm a big Star Trek fan. I don't know if there are Trekkies amongst you. Yeah, live long and prosper, mama. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, we are Brussels. Lower your shield, surrender yourself. Resistance is futile. We are Brussels. Let's just do We Are Brussels, okay? Community learning, ooh, baby. Okay, so that's right. We are Brussels. We are Brussels. Lower your shield, surround yourself, resistance is futile. Swamp, village, city, iris, museum stuffed dinosaurs, pissing girl, pissing boy, cathedral chorus, oh the joy. We are Brussels. Lower your shield, surround yourself, resistance is futile. Pentagon, small ring, Leopold, Louise, Harlaken, Holt, Nederover, Inbeek. Who to assimilate next? Strombeek, Waterloo, Bren, Rode, or Anderlecht. We are Brussels. Lower your shield, surround yourself, resistance is futile. Fortification, revolution, Frenchification, EU. We are Brussels. Lower your shield, surround yourself. Resistance is futile. Try to be together, please. Yes, lower your shield, surround yourself. Resistance is futile. Pour les plaies, les boulangers, les Vladimir due to great danger. Jean-Louis David, he beat the ran, vite. They Dumas, Hugo, and Proudhon too. They wrote around here a book or two, and then there was Rodin at Bourse, they say. Enfin, he sculpted nudes. Skin, Africa, Asia, the original sin, a writer and trader of coffee and tea. Welcome the writer Multimedia. Verlaine, Rimbaud, poetically rebelled, and Engels and Marx even got expelled. Lower your shield, surround yourself, resistance is futile. Brel, Bertrand, Tillemans, let's hear it, any fans? No, okay. And yeah, oh God, Mark de Drew is on my list of people too, erasing evil with a singing nun. She sung until her cross was hung. Wallonie, Hepburn, film, dream mythology, Levi, Strauss, structural anthropology. Lower your shield, surrender yourself, resistance is futile. Beautiful Smurfs, Haji Dante, Poulard's building eclectic sin. The list goes on with Pitts and Toms, Park, Toussaint, Van Damme, Tramont, Van Nistelrooy, Vesalius, too impressive, isn't it? This who's who? Lower your shield, surround yourself, resistance is futile. Arno, Barnard, Bejan, Brouwers, Bruegel, Boekwagen, is met with flowers. Erasmus, Horten, Hoogsham, Magritte, Marx, de Kennel, also in the scene. So weet ik, chemist, business, met Luc van der Weijden, Van Gogh, yeah, Vincent! And Van Ruysbroek, HUB, VUB, ULB, Erasmus, and Saint-Louis, the officers of the military! Lower your shield, surrender yourself, resistance is futile. Old politics, new politics, unemployment, gay, Maghreb, Congo, the US and the UK, Russia, China, Asia, Africa, intercultural monologue, asylum-seeking algebra. Lower your shield, surrender yourself, resistance is futile. Advertise, Africanize, Americanize, Arabize, Balkanize, barbarize, baptize, colonize, demonize, dogmatize, dramatize, emotionalize, erotize, Europeanize, feminize, fertilize, feudalize, fossilize, catalyze, legalize, fertilize, vaporize, penalize, radicalize, stigmatize, terrorize, trivialize, urbanize, vandalize, victimize, votarize, compromise. USS Enterprise. Lower your shield, surrender yourself, resistance is futile. Bashing, slashing, attacking, and winning parliaments, governments, councils, and predicaments, ministries, committees, agencies, communities, asylum seekers, NGOs, representatives, fugitives, journalists, socialists, communists, economists, anarchists, lobbyists, politicians, physicians, doctors, and nurses, diplomats, bureaucrats, and cursors! Lower your shield, surrender yourself, resistance is futile. 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 Thank you, Darren.
Our resistance is truly futile tonight. Thank you for that experimental offering, Philip, and putting us into different spheres and atmospheres through your words. And that brings us to the final performance of tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You have been an amazing audience. Please give yourselves a round of applause. So, last but definitely not least, this next poet is a multi-award winning performer, writer, new media artist, producer, and social activist. He's one of South Africa's top poets, truly, and his writings help him explore his inner world to relate to the outer world. He strongly believes that art offers humanity a path toward integration, joy, healing, and thus is persistently working towards creating alternative spaces for art to be shared in innovative ways. He's currently researching and creating work that focuses on how to turn toxic masculinity into compassionate masculinity. We love that. We love you for that. And ladies and gentlemen, he is the winner of the World Poetry Slam Competition. Truly a poet of high value. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Kabiso Bili.
Hey, Durban, what's up? Hello, Poetry Africa. Thank you for having me, yo. Word. Yeah, we did it. We brought it home. Yeah, now we're the best poets in the world, man. That's a wild thing. It's a wild claim. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much. I got these poems, and I was hoping I could share them with y'all. So yeah, if you're down, let's do it. Yes, please. Walked into the ocean and the waters became, spilled the sea into a bathtub and tried not to drown in myself. Dead friends clawed their way up my throat, my wrists, a river I drink from. I try not to spill the Nile and its ghosts that hold me in their palms. I pried my life from the grasp of a death I recognized, took shots of whiskey from a bleeding phantom. We danced Kendrick Lamar and all the other songs about dying black boys. Poured myself out for the homies. My umbilical wrapped itself around my throat. My mother was the fire. I do not tell her how many times I've almost died, how much blood I've made an ocean. That is between me and the ancestors. Sacrifice another heart to keep breathing. When will I stop leaking lovers from my fingernails? I have scratched myself raw, trying to find the exit wounds. Dodge death so often. Where does the reaper take his tax? Another friend died this year. This black boy says defiant, keep my wrists divinely attached to my arms, carve temples from my spine, mistake myself for holy with these bones made of water. I have come to myself to be baptized, a soggy scripture clinging beneath my fingertips, Sam Cooke running out my mouth. I was born a dying flood, name a black boy who wasn't. The waters have offered me exorcisms. I'm afraid the hauntings will leave with the memories. So this black boy sins defiant has started visiting cemeteries, tipping himself into the soil of the new asleep. Tomorrow, come collect the lilacs from these graves. You cannot take them from my mouth, because tomorrow I will not be dead yet. Boogeyman mistakes his depression for a hangover. He knows the dark side of the bed and the exhaustion that haunts him captive, a breaking quiet that breathes heavy underneath his sheets and rocks his lonely to sleep. Boogeyman is an uncrying beast, always feasting on everybody else's tears, can't stomach his own. Nausea mingles with his marrow, decays his bones, his sternum collapses, and the night spills out. He's been holding demons behind his breath. Now they claw their way out of the rubble of his chest, been feeding on his insides. He's all skin and no bones, wasted away on the teeth of his anxiety. Boogeyman can feel the rot in his gut. With regrets filling his hollow, he loses his appetite like his memories, loses himself in the drunken haze, has started losing days. Boogeyman blames the whiskey but whiskey has no mouth to defend itself, just an abyss that stares back. Boogeyman can't find himself. Been at this too long, playing drinking games with black boys, pain, can't keep up. Starts to recognize the symptoms of sabotage and morning sweats, shivers and shakes himself awake. A boogeyman runs himself a bar as long as redemption, wipes the scene, clinging to the mirror, trying to keep itself alive. And when boogeyman finally finds his reflection, this time, he is not afraid. On neo-colonialism, once they are done with our rhinos, they will come for the black man's teeth. Ambivalent. My mother loves me. My mother loves my father. My father and I do not speak. For the sake of my mother's love, I will meet my father for coffee and speak. War. My father fights so many wars. His hands have turned into guns. His arms have turned into guns. He can't hold my mother anymore. Nor can he his sons be too like our mother. My mother blames it on the rats. Men with arms as long as tails that know how to steal the pure from your youth, the teeth from your mouth, the gold from your labia. Men with the audacity not to die with swallowing your poison tongue. I watched my mother take a knife with the sheet, covered the scurrying, and beat it against the kitchen tiles until all that was left was blood and teeth. I have this in common with my father. We are both trying to find our characters. Geography. We are coming for everything. And our mothers too. Boogeyman gets ready for a date. Boogeyman tries to say, I love you, and a maggot crawls out his mouth. Today, he will pick the carcass from his teeth, will practice smiling, and it will not be stale and decaying. Will make a chapel of his catacombs, will make a shrine of his lips. Boogeyman might just use a pickup line. There must be something wrong with my eyes because I can't take them off you. Then Boogeyman will put his eyes back into their sockets. Be gentle. It's his first time. He is learning the fullness of a heart well loved. His chest drags him to the ground, finds himself in prayer. He is unaccustomed to this weight. His body has had no space for holy, but today, Boogeyman is in love, practices all his tender in front of the mirror, undresses from his monster, unties his intestines, and the butterflies come spilling out. They've been growing inside his belly. Faith wraps around his gut. Boogeyman has started believing in the future. He imagines his children and they are not ghosts. He's learning how to dream, has clawed himself out from the nightmares. Boogeyman is keen as an outer. I promised him there's nothing in your teeth. He tells me his love will no longer require sacrifice. Boogeyman smiles a sunrise that is a flower in bloom, a joy as wide as the sky, with hands to hold you. He says, I love you, and springs a butterfly from his mouth. And oh, the old gods come to prayer beneath his tongue. A love poem, the chorus. Ain't nobody writing love poems whilst women are dying. How you gonna fit romance into a coffin, be turning the kisses of the killer into honey. We've got a hive in our stomachs and our locust swarm hearts feast on the butterflies. My lover says she's practicing faith sleeping next to me. And what's the difference between prayer and a lover when both are a war zone? Us men call ourselves outers, but turn deity to sacrifice. Aren't we tired of the blood beneath our fingernails, facing a choir of killers in our reflection, sing bloody over the graves in our garden, turn love stories into horror? We're boogeymen, afraid of ourselves. I'm scared of raising a daughter who asks me to check beneath her bed for monsters, and I pull out her father, howling with the moon dripping from my lips, or raising a son who carries our curse, can't say his own name 3 times in a mirror, 3 times in a mirror. Us with I love yous bleeding from our jaws that taste like knuckles if we chew long enough, and a silence caught in our throats like accessory to murder. Ain't nobody writing love poems when we're so busy with obituaries. Dear men, there's a plague in our veins that haunts our hearts. The way we love, we breathe another dead woman from our lungs, and how you gonna speak to God with that mouth? Come to prayer in a church when another woman dies in our presence. Again, and still we do nothing. Again, it's time we pull ourselves apart and build a temple from our hearts that doesn't have murder etched into our blood. Are we here? Yeah. All right. We have come to this place to forget how to die. My kind lose sight of life even before they go blind, so we have come to take back their eyes, suck the cocoa butter from their skin so they can grow wrinkled, to teach my people how to grow old. Dear God, let my people go. Put the ocean back together again. We will walk on water instead. Give that boy back his bread. His mother has been crying for 3 days. Jesus is not the only one that deserves resurrections. We have been in line for a miracle. Dear Dad, are you still cashing out savings? Or does your second coming look like Red Sea wrists, like tipping chairs, like we have telescopes for chests? Look through the exit wound and you will see all that you owe us. It must be hard to remember your dead from up there. Our Father, who art in heaven, also doesn't answer calls from debt collectors. Can't clean up his mess, left a serpent coiled inside our breasts. Now my kind, pure and they of flesh, save themselves. I have been drunk for so long because the wakes never end. The roads to the cemetery are packed from one side to the next. I will turn this procession into prayer beads from our ribs. Our dentures will be gravestones with your 10 commandments that I will carve into teeth. Bury our tongues 6 feet deep. So when they rise, resurrection is the only language they will speak. We have come to this place to forget how to die. We're tired of holding on to these pictures for safekeeping, turning photo albums into scripture. These memories give us paper cuts on the inside of our thighs, between our arms, those places that are easy to hide. Until they aren't, we have turned ourselves into frayed fabric, forgotten photographs, pulled at our wrists, trying to hide the scars, unraveled at the seams, and picked out scenes of our demise. And the psychiatrist asks us if we have thought of suicide. My kind have nooses for blood and bullets for eyes, knives in their throats that show when they smile, born with buildings beneath their feet, close their eyes and learn how to fly. I'm tired, sighs the breath of my breath. And from here, I will pull all the strength I have left. I'm ready to wrestle. Bring your God, bring your dead. And if I lose, don't you dare lay me to rest. Because my spirit is pissed, and he's fighting next. Reminder. Your sorrow is not a river. It is not here to drown you. It is holy water, here to baptize you. But if you feel your chest exploding, those are your lungs turning into life rafts. And as always, holy shit, I love you. Thank you.
What an exhilarating performance. Thank you once again, Kabiso Bidi. You really carried us so well through your offering tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our program, our Connect the Poets event. I do believe that each of us have been moved and transformed in new and different ways tonight. Please do remember to share with us or submit your written reflections from tonight. We thank you. You have been wonderful. Thank you to all our poets, Philip, Paul, Spogazi, Kabiso, Lidol, and National Libre. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And once again, I'd just like to thank all our funders, Embassy of France, French Institute of South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal Department of Sports and Arts and Culture, National Department of Sports and Arts and Culture, Total Energies, the University of KwaZulu-Natal, our host tonight, and our partners here, My Voice, who are here with us tonight, Goethe-Institut, representation of Flanders, Wallonie, Bruxelles. Thank you so much for making this amazing night possible. And ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to stay for a little bit longer outside. You can enjoy some more refreshments with the iHeart Market and final performance from the UKZN Jazz Band. You have been amazing. Thank you so much for being here at the 26th edition of Poetry Africa Connect the Poets. See you tomorrow and on Sunday for the closing event at the Botanical Gardens. Thank you.